The third generation threshing wheel in the back of E36 is, without a doubt, one of the best cars. 90 of which is only 921 strong inside. The variety of basic performance is admirable. Here you have a sedan, a coupe, a convertible, and a universal haul, and even the last one in this version of the 233rd claimed even laurels for the course of the match. Still would. Under the hood of a baby 4 meters 21 centimeters long, 2 and a 5-liter engine of 52 are capable of accelerating to 100. The check set down as much as 0.8 of a second and already in a standard car. First, the cards are sports chairs and are blocked by scarlet scarcity. By the way, I have just such a car that has a little motor. I just enjoy his Soviet capabilities. But there were always people who had little such red data. It was for them that the Italian company Rating Dynamics created a monster with a 55 body of the company. The logic of the engineers seems to have been simple: if the buyer is not enough 6 cylinders, let's take all 12 under the hood. That is, it turns out that they were going to install the largest motor of the brand in the smallest one. It is said that it was done at least by the Danger or by the motor, which in the stock gave out 326 forces. But, as it turned out, engineers from the army prefer such cars to heads. This was not enough. The volume of the engine increased up to 5.5 liters. And they applied new feuds twice. The guys also conjured over the blockheads, increased the diameter of the valves, and also installed a new outlet and exhaust. As a result, a significant increase in power to horsepower and a moment of 550 meters. And most importantly, remember all this in the packaging of a car smaller than Audio 2. Especially to mess with the box, people from all the speakers did not become clearer whether 55th, and what. Eventually, as a result, it turned out to be a really monster, which in the background nature, he was afraid to exchange the first 97 km per hour a place in 4.5 of a second, so that it was faster than that. The result is 582, which is 12. But still, such a result of course is worse than ours. 2 from the last issue. However, the backbone of us for 200 of such a company could easily bypass this Audi. Reach the maximum. Believe it or not, 4 km per hour against such a modest one. Philip, I hope you remember such a business sedan as Information 164. I personally. Yes. The Alpha flag of those years could boast of a chic obligatory drink of the interior arena in the style of February, almost records of low noise levels at a speed of 100 km per hour, even in comparison with famous competitors, and a chic liter engine. Large by 192 forces. In general, in the second half of the 80s it was a kind of car. Dreams are able to overcome the first 100 in 7.7 of a second and accelerate to 230 km per hour, which is very good. But what you now see on the screen is not Alpha 164. This is a car that made a deal with the devil. It sounds, of course, loud, but only before you hear about its capabilities. This car turned out to just spit on all the laws of physics and the then ideas about acceleration, and accelerated from 0 to 97 km per hour. Just think, for 2 whole 1/10 of a second, even today's people are incapable of scaring and wide with a motor for 1500 forces. And what was it like to perceive such a figure in times, namely in 1988 a year? Despite the fact that outwardly the car very much resembled a serial one, it is simply incomprehensible to the mind. Maxim Markov was no less striking at 344 km per hour, and according to other sources, 350 km per hour. And the fact that at this speed such a chariot could bend in 17.5 of a second faster than almost any Kirker 2017 years, including the Cypher. How was this possible, you ask? And so, in the 85th, one of the engineers of the Finger with his colleagues began the development of a 10-cylinder of a new engine for a Formula 1 with a volume of 3.5 liters. And a year later, at the main stand, this engine produced about 600 horsepower. It seems to be a victory, but for a number of reasons the motor was not destined to get into the world of royal races. And the motor was a chaperone, it had to somehow adapt. Almost at the same time, the International Automobile Federation, known to everyone as everyone else, decided to create a new class of racing cars, named after the map. Its essence was to cram the formal motor and highway under the shell of road cars and organize a spectacular race at the same time. The people in the audience responded with great enthusiasm. Moreover, they already had a motor. In accordance with the rules of the prosecutor was developed by special Russia and super lightweight composite materials, and himself 10 installed directly in front of the rear axle of the body. Copying such a business was always 164. It was also made of strong and lightweight, like bone, and consisted of 3 parts. In general, the assembled car was difficult to distinguish from the train, and it was driving 750 kilograms. Cars at the level of real Formula 1 cars. To my great regret, other car companies have never created something similar. Therefore, a series of prosecutors can be said to have died before their birth. Not a single race took place, and 164th was the only car in hand to comply with the rules. Well, if you liked the roll to like it, be sure to subscribe to the channel and release the video data so that as many people as possible learn about such amazing cars. And the channel developed. Also don't forget to subscribe.